They called her the youngest self-made billionaire in history. In 2019, Kylie Jenner graced the cover of Forbes with a confident smile, the title above her head boldly declaring her financial crown. At just 21 years old, she had done what titans of industry spent decades trying to accomplish, or so we thought. But just 1 year later, Forbes made a stunning reversal. They stripped her of the billionaire title, accusing her team of manipulating revenue, fabricating tax documents, and orchestrating a financial illusion so convincing it fooled the world's most respected business magazine. This is the story of how Kylie Jenner and the Kardashian empire manufactured the image of generational wealth, and how it all began to crack under the weight of reality. Act 1: The Illusion of a Billion. When Forbes announced Kylie Jenner as the world's youngest self-made billionaire, headlines exploded. CNN, BBC, Bloomberg, they all echoed the claim. Her name became not just synonymous with fame, but with entrepreneurial excellence. But from the very beginning, something felt off. Kylie Jenner was, by all definitions, rich. She came from the most influential media family of the 21st century. Her cosmetics brand, Kylie Cosmetics, was massively popular, fueled by her 100+ million followers on Instagram. The business model was simple: lip kits, limited drops, hype. But was it truly a billion-dollar business? To understand what happened, we need to look at the mechanics behind the brand and the dynasty behind the woman. Act 2: The Kardashian Blueprint. Kylie didn't just build a cosmetics company. She executed a strategy perfected by her mother, Kris Jenner, turning media attention into monetizable equity. The Kardashian-Jenner empire isn't built on product innovation. It's built on attention. And Kris Jenner is the CEO of that system. When Kylie launched Kylie Cosmetics in 2015, it wasn't just a new product, it was the first test of whether one of the daughters could independently monetize their fame at scale. The results were explosive. The initial launch sold out in minutes, creating a gold rush effect for every subsequent drop. But here's the key: the business was private. There were no public earnings reports, no investor calls, no mandatory disclosures. So when Forbes attempted to estimate her net worth, they had only one source: the family itself, and the numbers they provided were massive. Kris Jenner claimed the company had generated over $300 million in sales in a single year, with 100% ownership belonging to Kylie. They even handed over tax documents to prove it. At face value, it looked bulletproof. Forbes ran with it, and in March 2019, the cover was published. At 21, Kylie Jenner becomes the youngest self-made billionaire ever. The world cheered. Investors admired her. Young women saw her as the ultimate role model. But behind the scenes, something didn't add up. Act 3: The Coty Deal, and the beginning of the end. Later that year, Kylie sold 51% of Kylie Cosmetics to beauty giant Coty for $600 million. This deal theoretically validated her billionaire status. If half of her company was worth $600 million, then the full company must be worth $1.2 billion, right? That's what everyone thought. But the acquisition triggered something no one expected: public financial filings. Because Coty is a publicly traded company, they were now required to disclose the performance of Kylie Cosmetics. And what came out was staggering. Sales weren't growing, they were shrinking. Revenue numbers were far below what had previously been claimed. In fact, in 2019, the company made just $177 million in revenue, far less than the $360 million figure quoted to Forbes. Worse yet, documents submitted to Forbes earlier appeared to be either inflated or selectively edited. In short, the numbers didn't match reality. Forbes re-examined everything and realized they had been played. Act 4: The Retraction heard around the world. In May 2020, Forbes published a blistering article titled "Inside Kylie Jenner's Web of Lies and Why She's No Longer a Billionaire." The article accused Kylie and her team of creating a carefully orchestrated illusion of wealth. They didn't just question the numbers, they called the entire story a lie. Here are the exact words from the piece: Kylie's business is significantly smaller and less profitable than the family has led us to believe. Forbes even suggested that Kylie's team forged tax returns. Let that sink in. They didn't just exaggerate. According to Forbes, they may have submitted fake financial documents to the media. Kylie's response? She tweeted, "What am I even waking up to? I thought this was a reputable site. All I see are a number of inaccurate statements and unproven assumptions, LOL. I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there ever, period. But the damage was done, and the crown was gone. The world didn't just lose a billionaire, it lost an illusion. Act 5. The business of image. Let's be clear, Kylie Jenner is still incredibly wealthy. She still sold 51% of her company for hundreds of millions. She still owns massive real estate, brand deals, and a fashion empire. But what this story revealed was something deeper. In the 21st century, image is currency. The Kardashian-Jenner machine has always known this. They don't just build wealth, they build perception. And perception in the media age can be monetized just like any asset. Being called a billionaire unlocked more than prestige. It opened doors to boardrooms, investors, sponsors, and global legitimacy. Forbes wasn't just a magazine cover, it was a symbol of status that could be leveraged for real-world value. And when the illusion broke, it showed just how much of modern wealth is based not on accounting, but on attention. Act 6. How the system enables the illusion. Kylie's story isn't an outlier. It's a symptom of the larger game being played by the ultra-wealthy. Billionaires don't just earn money, they engineer narratives. They use PR teams to control perception. They use private equity firms to structure deals that obscure real value. They use non-disclosure agreements and controlled leaks to shape how the media reports their wealth. Forbes itself admitted that it had been misled. But the bigger issue? They were incentivized to believe the lie. Why? Because the myth of the young billionaire sells. It drives clicks. It generates headlines. It gives the public a sense that the system works. That someone from social media could rise to billionaire status without Wall Street or Silicon Valley. And that illusion is worth protecting. Act 7. The price of manufactured wealth. There's a reason why so many celebrities create brands instead of just taking endorsements. Equity offers not just income, but valuation. And valuation is where the magic happens. Here's how the game works. You start a brand, you use your fame to drive traffic, you keep the company private so you control the narrative, you inflate projected earnings to inflate valuation. You sell part of the company at a high valuation to validate your net worth. You leak the numbers to the media. The media crowns you a billionaire, and if you get caught, you just deny. You say it was a misunderstanding, and you move on, because by the time the truth comes out, you've already monetized the lie. Act 8. The myth of the self-made billionaire. Forbes gave Kylie a title that wasn't just inaccurate, it was dangerous. By calling her the youngest self-made billionaire, they pushed a myth that anyone could become ultra-wealthy through social media, branding, and hustle. That being born into wealth and fame could be spun into self-made with a few clever business moves. But let's be clear, Kylie didn't start from zero. She had access to capital, distribution, PR, and a global platform before she sold her first lip kit. She had a mother who was a marketing genius, and a family that had already mastered monetizing scandal. What she did wasn't ordinary, it wasn't repeatable, and it wasn't self-made in any meaningful sense. But the myth, that was the product, that was the real asset. Act 9, the new definition of wealth. In today's economy, wealth isn't about money, it's about narrative control. Kylie didn't become a billionaire, she became the idea of a billionaire. And that idea was sold to the world, repackaged, monetized, leveraged, and flipped into real income before the truth ever caught up. The lie worked. And in the world of media capitalism, that's often all that matters. This story is no longer about Kylie Jenner. It's about the world that rewards illusion, the media that amplifies it, and the audiences that crave it. Final act, what this says about us. Why did the world want to believe Kylie was a billionaire? Because it gave us hope. Hope that wealth wasn't locked behind Harvard degrees, hedge funds, or tech startups. Hope that attention was enough. Hope that a pretty face and a ring light could lead to generational fortune. And maybe that's the real trick. The system doesn't just sell us lipstick, it sells us a dream wrapped in glossy covers and Instagram filters. A dream that says, you can be next. But when you peel back the layers, you don't find gold, you find clever accounting, media manipulation, and narratives engineered to feel real. And behind it all, just another product, just another story sold to the masses, just another fake billionaire in a world addicted to the illusion of success. Want to know how the 1% really create wealth? Not with followers, but with systems, loopholes, and secret structures most people will never access. This was just one story, but there are dozens more. Some real, some faker than you can imagine. Subscribe now to Secrets of the 1%. We expose the hidden engines of power, wealth, and control. No noise, no hype, just truth. Because if you don't understand how the game is rigged, you're not just losing, you're not even playing.